I know you're looking down on us. When you planned this day in ever-loving detail, you never told us it would be so hard. But you did want us to have a good time. So let's get on with the celebration of your life and time with us. Harry knew that his time on earth was limited, finite, and the day of his brother Fran's passing away so quickly, and he learned that he had the same family disease. In vintage Harry fashion, he went to work to extract the very most he could from his limited time. His priorities seemed to be taking care of the love of his life, Kay, and his girls, along with his extended family, helping his friends and West Point classmates wherever they had needs, supporting his class, the military academy, the army, and the community, and finally adjusting to the conditions of his declining health. Harry developed and executed the mother of all transition plans as he concluded business, met with literally hundreds of friends, spent time on Cape Cod, and veterans thereafter. He was born in Pinehurst, North Carolina at the end of the Great Depression, where his little old Irish father worked tending water, and his hard as nails, Polish mother bore and reared him along with his brother and three sisters. The family moved to Manchester, Mass., where Harry became a lifelong Bostonian and acquired the proper brogue of the culture where he grew up. This also shaped his political leanings, of which we will say more later. He enlisted in the Army as a private in 1958 as a stepping stone to bigger and better things that his family could not afford. Encouraged by his superiors, Harry applied for and was accepted into the prep school at West Point in 1960. After a stutter step with academics, we call that a turnback, a year skip, repeated. He joined the class in 1965, where his leadership abilities were recognized when he was selected to be a cadet battalion commander in his first class senior year. In November of 1965, Harry married Kay Gill, daughter of a prominent Boston lawyer, after a Cinderella-esque courtship that began a year earlier when he was fitting her for boots at the West Point ski slope. Together, they produced a loving family with two wonderful daughters, Laura and Joanna, and their adopted Gwendolyn. Quiet and demure, and ever at Harry's side looking out for him and adding much softness that he never could display. Kay is a short bet for sainthood. Harry was commissioned in the Army Signal Corps. In 1965, he became an airborne ranger. After a very short tour in Coast, this country, Harry shipped to Vietnam, where he served in the 196th Infantry Brigade of the American Division as a communications officer, and then as an infantry company commander. Improving on his academic prowess, he earned an MBA from the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, and then transferred to the Army Ordnance Corps as a logistics officer. He did trip time as a battalion XO commander, began a series of high-level tours with the Army Material Command, where he wielded enormous influence far above his rank. After brigade command at Aberdeen Proving Grounds, Harry and family moved to Germany, where he became the deputy commander of the 3rd Corps Support Command that deployed and then ran the logistics for Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. When Harry spoke proudly of his military service, it was never in the context of his accomplishments, of which I'm sure there were many, but much more so of the soldiers and the officers with whom he served and led. The Colonel, Dermody, retired in 1993 with a full 30 years of distinguished service to his country. Harry and Kay located waterfront property in this lovely little town of Centreville, Maryland, and had their home built to their specs. Harry enmeshed himself in local politics, but as far as I know, never ran for office. Did financial support for the locality in his church and supported the West Point class and all the water. This next section I call it Vintage Harry. Harry enjoyed his role as the old man of the class of 1965. He also had a reputation of being a legitimate curmudgeon. This provided him with many excuses to lobby for extra strokes on the golf course, and to get the final word on any discussions and arguments in his favor. Being Irish and coming from Boston put him on the other side of most of his classmates, politically speaking, with no uncertain terms. Additionally, his hearing impairment often became a crutch for him to end arguments on his terms, as he averred that he simply could not hear or understand the other side. He absorbed and loved taking many, many pot shots with his friends, and relished in slapping them back and having the final say. Harry was always going ahead with something. Or in the past tense, he went ahead and did whatever. This idiosyncrasy of speech says a lot about the man. Constantly looking ahead and not paying much attention to the past or his past. He did not tolerate fools, nor could he fathom anything but working toward and finding the goal. Also known for speaking plainly and bluntly, bureaucrats, nattering nabobs, and pedants often fell by the wayside as Harry focused on positive outcomes and drove decisions and progress. Always feisty, good-natured, and cantankerous, Harry's outward demeanor masked a huge heart that we felt and respected. As many of you know, Harry was the heartbeat of the class of 1965, having led several very successful fundraising campaigns for the Academy, having served on numerous committees, boards, and task forces for the Association of Graduates, and having put in place policies and procedures to govern and lead class activities. I have heard from many outside our class about how we were admired and respected for our ability to get things done in support of the Academy, to look out and care for each other and our widows and next of kin, and to communicate amongst ourselves. I can assure you that these accolades are largely attributable to Harry's work and deep love for his class and alma mater. He taught the rest of us how to do it, and we will carry on in his memory. As the class approaches its 50th reunion, Harry led us on our final funding campaign to provide support to several projects of great importance to the superintendent, the dean, and the Association of Graduates. Well, for those who have never done it, fundraising takes a lot of organization and work, and is not for the faint-hearted. And the last 20% is the hardest to get. At a conference call meeting we had just last week that Harry attended, it was reported by one of the regional lieutenants that he was having trouble getting 6 or 7 individuals to cooperate. After thinking about it, the lieutenant classmate went back to those persons with the threat that if they did not become more cooperative, he was going to turn them over to Harry. Long story short, they capitulated. And that's probably going to become the MO for the other regions. I'm not sure, but I suspect that we'll still be able to get some more mileage out of Harry. A mutual friend posted the following story on our class Eulogy webpage relating to our semi-annual class golf outings. And I quote, "But the real fun was the hilarious banter that would ensue at the 19th hole after a few shots of Irish whiskey. Classmates would tell him to quit complaining about his game. He should expect to lose some accuracy and distance because he was so much older than the rest of us." That usually elicited a short 2-word response that I'll leave to your imagination. My friend. Harry was well known for his special affection for a good glass of good Irish whiskey. The cap of a long day, working, golfing, or whatever, usually became a drink of Irish. 1, 2, or 3 fingers, depending on the activity or level of frustration. I'm certain he took a bottle with him and will hold up his heavenly glass as we hold up ours. The Dermody clan has a long history of attending Army versus Navy football games with the class. A key element of each of these games is the late night, early morning card games, with Harry leading the banter, passing back and forth insults and stories, expletives deleted, as he amassed his small fortunes in nickels, dimes, and quarters. We will be sure to save a seat at the table for next weekend in Philadelphia. We all feel the loss of something great in Harry's moving on, to the next level where we hope he will be going